So as he started coming down the bridge, he decided that he was going to speed up. And so I just watched his speed steadily go up from 65 all the way to I think 98. Well, so I'll probably just stop a little bit. Tell him to slow down.
Right.
Maybe make him think I'm going to give him a ticket.
Sure.
So that was my thought process. Well, as soon as I turn on my headlights and I start turning out,
Yeah.
He sees me. I guess I start with him and see him drop his speed, so I tap his brakes real quick, and then he passed me, and I was like, okay, here we go. And then before I could even get fully turned around, I just hear that Hemi engine rev up.
Oh, no.
Not a good
Here we go. Said I'm not gonna win, but whatever, because I'm in a 2013 Chevy Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
So versus a Challenger with that much horsepower.
Yeah.
So I tried,
Oh, sure.
I was at like 140, and he was still pulling away from me, left me in the dust, and that was it. I didn't. He must have turned off somewhere because you can outrun the car, but you can't outrun the radio.
Right.
And so he didn't. He hadn't made it to the next town, as they were out in force. So I was like, well, shoot. Oh well, I'll just go back to watching YouTube like I was. Whatever, I thought. And so I'm going back, and on my way I'm checking like some side streets where he might have turned off at.
Right.
And I didn't see anything there. I was like, I've completely given up at that point.
Right.
And on the side of the road, I see the entrance to a trailer park. It's just a car with its parking lights on, and that's peculiar. That wasn't there before that I recall. And so I put my car back around, and I put my spotlight on it, and sure enough, it's like, oh, that's a Dodge Challenger.
There it is right there.
So I radioed my dispatch. Our town sits in the middle of two counties.
Oh, yeah.
So the primary county that we use, I was nowhere near it.
Right.
So they can't help me. They got discontinued, so I was kind of like solo.
Right.
They had some other county people, and of course the other town that I had went to, they were down the road, but it takes some time. I got to tell my dispatch what I'm doing. I got to call them, which they in turn have to call the other local PD to kind of. So it takes a while.
Right.
And so I tell them that I see the car again. And I pull up in front of them, and I just see this slender figure just jump out the car. He's
That's it. I'll run it.
off to the woods. So my thought process was, I could just stay in my car, and maybe he'll be dumb enough to run down the road, and I'll wait till he gets tired and get out, and you didn't get away, buddy. Let's go.
Right.
But he was one step ahead of me, and he diverted to the woods, and so I didn't go after him.
Sure. It gets cars, so he's going real far.
Yeah, well, a lot of the classy people that we get are from Jacksonville. So they have like a lot of drugs.
Right.
They have more violent crimes than we do in Boyle, the southern part of Smith County.
Right.
And so he ran off into the woods, and I'm not very keen on that, and primarily being that why was he had plenty of time to get away.
Oh, yeah.
He had ample time. He could have just, as soon as I passed him, he could have just went back north, and because he wasn't even from Jacksonville, he was from Frankston, which is like off of 155. So
Mhm.
he could have easily gone back to the Big Sandy or Bullard
Right.
and cut over to 155. So, you know, I'm thinking, well, why's he just sat on the side of the road?
Right.
You know, with his parking lights on, of all things, like,
It's
hello.
like,
Here I am.
Putting out a signal. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we never found him.
Oh,
Every,
yeah. You just take the car and stick it in him.
oh yes, I tell you.
that didn't break your heart, did it?
No,
Anything in the car at all?
no.
No.
And it didn't matter the fact that he left it on private property.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was blocking an entrance.
Right.
It's used in the course of a felony, so
Right.
generally, you know, my other thought process for that, you know, you use a vehicle, really anything in the commission of a felony. More likely, if it's a car, more than likely it's going to get towed.
No.
You know, we'll do we'll do like further investigation or hold it or search for things. So, you know, that's my thought process. You know, how I would do things like, you know, when I was in Big Sandy, but
Sure.
I guess being the new kid on the block, and I'm not 100% familiar with everything, like, you know, what our protocol is, because I ran it everything. Like, I know I'm going to tow the car,
Sure.
regardless, but I don't know if I'm going to request a hold so he can't just come and pick it up.
Right.
So, normally, in Big Sandy, you know, that's what we would do, and we would have the owner of the vehicle come and talk to us about it, you know. If they pull, oh, well, it wasn't me. Well, who was it?
Right.
Who had your car? And I called my sergeant, and he was like, no, we're not going to do it.
Wow.
Okay.
Awfully forgiving.
That's weird.
I said, oh, okay.
Could have been a relative of his or something.
Right. So I was like, well, there went that, you know.
Right.
I'm not one to, you know, question the sergeant and you know, the captain, who is kind of like the day supervisor. He had left and went on vacation, and the email that I got was, if you need me, don't call me.
Right.
Yeah.
Call
The
the
sergeant.
sergeant.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, you know, he said don't call him, so I won't. And so we left it at that, and so there was about a 4-day span after that, you know, when the captain was actually going to be back
Right.
from Thanksgiving, and by that time, I did call the record company back and was like, listen, we're not putting a hold on it, but if he calls,
Yeah, just let us know.
call me. I
Right.
don't know. You know, I might be around the area. I don't know. So, they never called me directly, but they called the police department, and I guess they notified whoever. But
No.
I ended up talking to somebody from there, and I was like, you know, is the car still there? I was checking in on it, and they're like, yeah, it is right now. You know, we want to let you know that somebody's been asking about it. The owner of the car, I'm like, well, what'd he say?
Right.
Well, he's told us that, you know, he wasn't driving that night. I'm like, okay,
Well, of course you would.
go figure.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that too. You know?
Right.
And it's like, well, who was driving his car? And he said, well, he said that, you know, he had been drinking at a bar, and, you know, he was drunk, and he let some guy, you know, I think he said his name was like Jeff or something.
Right.
Didn't know his last name.
Yeah. Stranger Jeff.
Yeah, just let Jeff take the car, and you know, he said he caught a ride from somebody else. I'm like, no. I said no reasonable person would let somebody they hardly know,
Even drunk.
even drunk,
A nice car like
drive
that.
away with a brand new car
Mm.
that they've only had for 2 months. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't know them. when I got my truck, I had a hard time even letting some of my closest friends
Oh, sure.
drive. Like, can I borrow your truck? You know, I gotta move. You're like, sorry, buddy, you gotta
Yep, yep. Mm.
call a moving company.
So you all charge you $20.
Or you can pay me.
Mm.
So, needless to say, when the captain got back into town, I got a phone call,
Mm.
and he said, "Tell me what the hell happened with this pursuit."
Right.
Well, Captain,
Yeah.
I would love to. Now, let me tell you what the sergeant told me.
And he did it proper and respectfully.
Exactly, and he was, just the tone in his voice, you could tell that he was not happy.
Right.
And I was like, this is what I would have done, Captain, but this is what I was told.
Mm.
And he was like, well, why didn't you call me?
Bloody man.
Yeah, I said, well, you, Captain, you said you sent out an email and you said not to bother me.
Mm.
So, Captain, I was not going to bother you.
Right.
You were enjoying your Thanksgiving holiday. So he was like, I'm going to talk to him. And so, sure enough, like the next day, the sergeant ran into me or whatever. He's like, oh man, so I got an earful when I came to work today. I was like, oh yeah? What about? Yeah, kind of played dumb. And he told me that the captain had talked to him, and he said, well, from now on, when something like this happens, or we get into pursuit, we are putting a hold on the car. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. And, the captain's logic behind all that was that he's like, we had no leverage now.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he basically got away, so you're preaching to the choir.
Right.
I was ready to do that from the get-go, but...
That'd be interesting if you should ever cross that person's path again.
Oh, I'm telling you, anybody with his name or that car,
Burned into your memory.
I don't care if it's, he gets pulled over for not signaling lane change, he's getting a ticket. So,
Well, you're as forgiving as any of the cops. In fact, I think you're probably more understanding, but don't flaunt your capacity to, say no to law enforcement. That's the basis of our country, is following laws.
right, and, I have, I guess, more or less a pretty good reputation out of the rest of the police officers who are kind of, well, they're jerks. When it comes to giving tickets, I'm I guess more lenient than I should be.
Yeah,
But,
well,
I always tell myself, I'm like, well, I stopped them for doing, 10 over is like my limit. I'll stop you if you're 10 miles over the speed limit. I may or may not give you a ticket. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Attitude being, one of the main ones.
yeah.
If you get somebody that's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just wasn't paying attention. Okay, well, warning.
Yeah, yeah.
When you get those people that, and people tell me this, I'm like, you were stopped for speeding, any particular reason why you were going as fast as you were? I'm not familiar with the area. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what, like Texas or the United States? Or... So I'm pretty sure, the speed limit signs are identical.
Well posted.
And, yeah, well posted, so, that kind of, they're just like...
I had, was up on the, one of the toll roads in Oklahoma going up to Miami, Oklahoma, or towards that direction, and there was a guy in front of me who passed me. I mean, I was going the speed limit of 75, and man, this guy set like it was nobody. So I decided I'd follow him. I thought, well, he's probably got a radar, he'll keep me safe. We hit 110, and he's going faster. I'm thinking, I don't think I'll do this. So I slow back down to 89, and by this time, I'm running at 85, 89.